David in Arkansas. You're talking to Eric and Jamie. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. First off, I want to say to George in Toronto, hang in there. In order for all parties to be happy, it's got to be hard to stick it in.
David, you're already wonderful.
Yes.
But
you win. You win the first comment out of a caller being perfect award.
But that said, he doesn't have to hang in there if it's causing him pain, and you know
it is like, up to him whether or not he sticks it in.
Now,
whether it's hard or not, it
says in the comment. It says
up to him and them.
It says that you're actually a religious caller, which makes that even better. David,
it says what?
Well, in the notes it says that you are theist. You have a religious viewpoint.
Yeah, that's, and I'm not sure how much I want to touch on that today.
Well, it depends. Let's get to the topic. What do you want to talk about?
The topic I want to get at is I want to eat crow. I called you all on December 30th of last year, and I was pretty upset because I had seen some episodes where you all were ripping up Bibles and, I thought you all were not respectful to people with other views. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah. So it's certainly an episode that would be incendiary, and there are people that I know where afterwards I sort of went, yeah, I know that they watch my show and listen to it occasionally. I'm going to give them a heads up of what they're going to see.
And I think that in that episode, I recall that if I were to have reached that place again, there are more things than I can say other than I'm making it better by ripping stuff out. It was very fun to do, but there's more to it. You know, I would try to say
we had a very good conversation, and I ended up coming away appreciating y'all, but also after 3 months now of watching even more and listening to y'all even more, I can understand why you can get so incendiary, because I get the same way, and I do consider myself a theist, albeit a very liberal and getting away from that kind of theist because of people like ID in Japan and a couple others that I'm not going to name.
You know what's funny, David, is those people find us and they call us, and then we get accused of, very selectively picking the weakest in the herd. They're the only ones who call, right? I mean, this is an opportunity for like an experienced apologist to call in and have it out, and we would take that call and we would give them precedence. We'd take them first, but they don't do it. It drives me. So we take what we have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Experienced apologist calling you out. What's up?
Yeah.
Call us.
So, like I said, I didn't want to apologize because I didn't understand where we all are coming from.
But here's the difference: is you stuck around and you learned where we're coming from, and that is something that you should be lauded for. Because a lot of people don't. They go, oh, it's an idea or a position that I don't like done. And I'm glad that you were, overcame that. And to your point, we know activists that will say, Ken Ham deconverted me, basically, is an activist that we know says that because it's true. So you're not alone in, wow, these other guys that are talking about.
But what did you want to say?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I have a question. So I do have people. I'm probably like most of us. I mean, if you present me with evidence, I'm going to change my mind. Some people are not willing to, and I know a lot of people are not willing to. And I let all kinds of people in my house. Lately, I've been talking to Mormons, and I don't agree with virtually anything about their viewpoints, but I'm willing to talk to them. But the problem is, for instance, they really upset me yesterday. My grandfather died about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I'm grieving. I mean, if he's in a better place, great, but that doesn't keep him here. So, And I've also got an uncle in the hospital, and I've got the Mormons wanted me to go to church with them this morning. And I said, no, I need to be at home. I need to be free to talk and move about, because if I get, you know, an update, I need to be able to answer my phone. And they very sincerely said, do you think God would let you miss an important call and would let someone call during church?
God lets all kinds of shit happen.
Do they think that a phone has never gone off in a church service? Sorry, you can continue.
Of course, we've got free will. I said, are you saying he would not let them? And they said, yeah, he wouldn't let them. And I said, so he can control that much. Then why did he let my grandfather die? Why did he let this happen and this happen and this happen and this happen? And they couldn't answer me.
I'm not surprised.
And it made me so mad.
It's the problem of evil is the way that argument is stated. You know, how can evil exist in a world with a loving, all-powerful God? You can take out all the other omnis and just with loving and all-powerful, you get there. Now, David, I do want to lead by example and say that I don't want to use this heart-wrenching event to try and convince you, you know, of something that you should be convinced. You should have these conversations when you're damn well ready and not a minute beforehand. So I just want to make sure we're not leaking into that territory, because I want you to get there for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've been exploring my beliefs for a long time. I still believe there is some form of a God, although he's diminished in capacity and capability as I've gotten older. I don't believe that you can have an all-powerful God, yet we have free will. That does not mesh. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
In the process, it makes sense to me in that I remember being in that place.
Okay,
but over time,
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Over time, for me, maybe your experience can be very different, but I'm just going to share mine a little bit. Mine became more and more nihilistic. And part of the reason it became so nihilistic is because I was coming to these, you know, oh my goodness, hey, just because I want it to be true doesn't mean it is true. You know, hey, what evidence do I have for these things? And I didn't really have a lot. I wound up kind of in this empty place, right? This state of anomie, you know, when it came to morality and ethics, and this state of aporia, this dread, you know, this uncomfortable feeling of not knowing. And I hadn't really explored the other side of it. And the other side of it is, you know, being a good human, you know, the way we treat each other, creating purpose for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
And then moving on with that and wanting to make a better world for the next generation. It doesn't matter if there's a grand purpose. I want my kids to have a good life, and I want their kids to have a better one. I want to eliminate disease and pain and suffering. And when we don't see that those deities stepping in to solve the problem, then we realize that humans' hands solve human problems. Yeah. And that's really cool. That's actually something that kind of fills you up. Yeah. And so if you hadn't heard it before, there is something to be excited about. I promise. Anytime along that way, even if it seems that there's no God at all, the world that we're making for each other is a really good one.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
You know, and I've been thinking, for instance, about someone said they have a purpose in life, and I looked up the definition, and it essentially, from what I read, insists on a creator. And I'm like, I don't know that we have a purpose, but I think we can find meaning. You know, I think the better question is, how do we want our lives defined?
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, how about this? What if, you know, when you say we don't have purpose, what if that's actually a misapplied kind of thing? Because what if the idea that there's some grand purpose applied to you from the outside doesn't even make sense? If there's no guarantor on the outside to give you that purpose, then it's almost like creating a problem that doesn't exist, isn't it? And if that's the case, then we're really kind of missing, we're having phantom limb syndrome for a limb that we never actually had.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are all things that helped me. I'm just trying to jump in and kind of give you a little bit of what's helped.
And like I said, I'm kind of, I mean, I'm on my journey. I don't want to, I'm not making rash decisions. I don't think that one can. I mean, logically, I mean, some can, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, you know, just because I don't see a God in this instance, or let's say I see a God, I'm not going to make a decision either way because of what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean, and
perfectly understandable.
Yeah, and to be clear, like Eric said, we're not trying to say, oh yeah, well look at your life, make a decision based on that, because you shouldn't use emotions to evaluate logical, questions of facts that should be evaluated through logic, right? In the same way that I think that any religious person, although I see it most from Christians, shouldn't go to grieving people and say, see, isn't this a good reason to come to church?
Right.
A good reason to believe in God. It's certainly a good reason to find comfort wherever you find it.
Well, and it feels like a nice sell, too. You're going to miss them?
Yeah.
Well, no, you'll get to see them again. I mean, what? You're talking about going with Mormons
let me make
back.
the most amazing promise possible.
Not being, and never really have to fulfill on it.
It matters
But for atheists, I mean, what's our trifold, right? What are we going to, knock, knock, here you go, it's a blank piece of paper. Like, what do we... So... Aaron, I saw you.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That reminds me. So, closing. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what should I do about the Mormons? Here's the thing. I like their company.
Yeah.
They seem genuine, and they seem to be genuinely caring. Mm-hmm. But clearly, the thing is, I don't want to just annihilate them with facts because I don't know that they can handle it.
Actually, they're trained to turn it off. But here's a great thing that you can do. Be the person that just called this show. What you've just said was absolutely from the heart. Say, hey, I'm in a place of mourning and it hurts. And because of that hurt, I feel like you're kind of predating on my emotional state right now. I think you're a wonderful person, and I don't think you're doing it intentionally. But it's really not, I'm not in an emotional place where I'm ready to tackle that. I don't want you to go away, but I also need you to tone back because it hurts and it's hurtful. Generally, when you approach those kinds of things, when you're dealing with honest people, they're usually really understanding. And when they're not, you've got a good reason to tell them to fuck off.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and I wanted, if y'all have not, y'all need to check out an episode of Brain Games called The God Mind. It's kind of interesting. It shows that atheists and theists have some things in common, and I kind of wonder.
I hope we have things in common.
What things on that are about.
Yeah, well, I'll check it out. I am furiously studying for this debate with David Wood coming up.
Yeah.
But
and I'm going to be reading a 3,000-word
manifesto. You set yourself up, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, David, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Scholar.
Also, David, call back. Let us know how it goes.
Hey, thank you. Take care, brother.
I sure will.
Yeah. Thanks, David.